Am I the butthole for telling a friend that her opinion on my clothes doesn't matter? I, 24 female, live with two other women, Claire, 23 female, and Joan, 24 female. Joan spent most of last week helping her boyfriend find and move into a new flat, so we haven't seen much of her. Joan is a bigger girl, a UK 22, and is very into the body positivity movement, in particular the health at any size movement, but to a dangerous and quite toxic degree, i.e. she recently complained about discrimination to our GP practice after a nurse told her she couldn't have the combined pill due to her weight. One of her major bugbears is when brands only sell straight sizes, 6 to 16, 18. It is her opinion that if brands don't sell a larger size range that they should be boycotted, and anyone who buys from them is approving of their size exclusivity. Earlier this week, to cheer ourselves up, Claire and I each ordered a sundress from House of CB, living in Britain in March. That may seem a bit hopeful, but they are pretty and a girl can dream of summer. They arrived Friday night, and Claire and I decided that on Sunday we'd have afternoon tea and wear them. It would also act as a distraction from the fact it was Mother's Day and we couldn't be with our mums. We text Joan to see if she wanted to join, but she declined. Joan came home during the tea, and all was fine. At first she had a scone and chatted away until she asked about the dresses. We told her they were House of CB and she looked them up. Then she said, "Why the F are you guys supporting somewhere like this?" We said, "What?" And she started ranting about the sizing, double XS to L+, UK 4/6 to 14/16. I told her to calm down, and that the dresses are pretty. She told us that she was appalled at us wearing them, and then started ranting. I stopped her and said that her opinion on clothes sizing does not affect me and should not affect if Claire and I are trying to find some happiness in these times, that we should be allowed to shop wherever we want and that she needs to stop obsessing over it. Joan then stormed off to her room, and is still refusing to speak to either of us. Only texting us once to say, "I'm only talking to you if you send those dresses back and apologize." Are we the buttholes here? I know weight in clothing is a sensitive topic, and I know that she has a thing about it, but I don't see why that should affect what Claire and I are allowed to buy and wear. However, I am aware I was a few cocktails and so could have been a bit more sensitive about it myself. I'm only really questioning it, as her reaction is so extreme. Not the butthole. As a fat person, it is annoying that some places don't make larger sizes and it makes shopping embarrassing sometimes, but as a company it is their right to supply whatever sizes they want. People have no right to dictate where other people buy their clothing from or tear them down for buying said clothing, especially if their gripe is with the sizing ranges only. Your friend sounds like a crappy person. As another plus-size person, currently wearing an 8X t-shirt, I would text back, "So if we keep them you will stay silent?" Deal. That was what I thought as well. Sounds like you won't be talking to me again then. I'm only talking to you if you send those dresses back and apologize. The only thing that should be said is, "Can I get that in writing?" Well, it was a text, so they already did. It was a text, original poster already has it in writing. Score. I prefer the classic "I respect your decision." Also, as another plus-sized, fat, okay, I snort cookies as if for a living, person, you weren't even being disrespectful to her or anything like that. Keep the dresses, you did nothing wrong. She found offense where there was no offense. Plus, not all clothes look good on both smaller and bigger people. There's different shapes for different sizes. I snort cookies as if for a living. I'm picturing someone crumbling up Oreos and using a rolled up dollar bill to snort a line of the dust. That can't be good for your lungs. My mind went to chocolate chip. Whole ass chunks of cookie and chocolate. I snorted Coke once, but I got an ice cube stuck up my nose, playful face. We all know this is what started the Cookie Monster's downfall. I had it with a rolled up crepe, you know, keeping with the theme and all. I need cookies, whatever form you got. I haven't had any all day. I'll drink it, shoot it, eat it, and snort it, whatever form it's in. Cookie cookie cookie. It's a saying. A funny, desperate cry for cookies. It's just my thing. It's a bit. My bit. You know what, 3 cookies would be great. Is that a threat or a promise? Also, not the butthole, but I've heard clothing companies explain the lack of plus-size designs. In order to make plus-size clothes in the same quality fabrics is to get more quality fabric. Problem with that though is now the clothes have to cost more to cover the fabric purchases. Then us plus-size bodies start bitching that we can't afford the designer threads. Clothing companies just can't win. Imagine walking into Gucci and seeing 2 sweaters. Size 8 is $900 but size 22 is $1,800. We can all say that's discrimination, but in reality, making that sweater in a 22 costs more. I'm not happy about it either. I would love a cute top from Kate Spade, but my huge chest won't fit, so I shop where my sizes are and it still makes me feel fabulous. Sure, but it's not like my double XS and a petite is cheaper than a regular size double XL. Clothing companies have huge margins and can be more inclusive and responsible. That said, it's ridiculous to expect everybody to shun places you don't want to buy it for whatever reason. Original poster is not the butthole. It's not just material costs though. Clothing manufacturers get their margins by automating the process where possible and producing in large quantities. When they change the size, they change the template and run through the whole process. This makes sense to do when doing large quantities, 10K, but ends up resulting in a loss when doing niche sizes. They will run their projections on the cost of inclusivity based on these costs. This is the reason companies specialize in plus size. I am a 12-14 on bottom and a 20 on top due to my chest. Means I usually have to go to 2 or more shops to build an outfit as neither cater to both halves of me. To add to my freaky body, I have no hips and a long flat ass, so basic fashion is a no. You can end up using more than double the length of fabric once you get to a certain sizes. Fabric is usually between 36 to 60 wide, which for most patterns and regular sizes allow for at least 2 pieces to lay side by side when cutting them. But if the pieces are so wide you have to stack them instead of laying them side by side, you end up using way more, with a ton of extra fabric waste. This is also why an XS and L won't really cost a different amount. Total fabric used would be about the same, just with a bit more waste on the smaller sizes. It isn't solely the material cost though. That $900 versus $1,800 for a Gucci sweater isn't $900 more material. There are other costs, like pattern scaling, changes to production, and a potential increase in unsold stock. But also, Gucci is selling something other than the cost of material and labor with their clothing. And part of that is exclusivity and image. That $900 sweater did not cost anywhere near $900 to produce. Now fast fashion, sure. A $20 blouse is going to have a more significant margin loss on larger sizes and have to cover that difference. But the cost of materials isn't the main reason clothing brands don't make extended sizes. Your reasoning should make sense, but in reality most of the cost of designer clothes is in the brand name. The sweatshop laborers aren't paid more to make bigger clothes, and the material cost is a tiny fraction of the actual cost of the goods. The profit margins on designer clothes are huge. If you were talking H&M or a budget brand that sells sweaters for $20, then yeah, I've seen them charge $5 to $10 more for the triple XL sizes and it with bigger shoes. However, it is not typically a large factor increase of 2x. Not the butthole. I wonder if she gets mad when brands only sell women's clothes, or only men's clothes, or only children's clothes, or only. If anything, brands specializing in a narrow market lets them serve that market better. Exactly this. I'm also on the larger side, and while various companies make cute things, they aren't necessarily my size. So I find what fits and works for me. Simple as that. Yay for jeans and Carhartt hoodies, lol. Not the butthole. I say this as a plus-size person. Joan does not have the right to control what you wear. She is making her weight issues about you rather than about herself. She is forcing you to be responsible for her problems. But you are not. Do not apologize or back down. Exactly. If Joan were truly, 100%, body positive, then she wouldn't project her anger onto you or try to gatekeep what you can or can't wear. You can be a bit more sympathetic, sure, but her problems are precisely that, her problems, and she needs to deal with them. Say yes to the dress. Not the butthole. Original poster. It's like that time I got called fatphobic for questioning the guy saying fat people are their own race. Like, dude, I'm fatter than you. I'm so curious about this logic. Like, do baby fat rolls count towards the fatty race? Or if a baby is born at 9+ pounds, he's automatically in? And what happens if the chunky baby gets really lean, like so many do? Is he out? Or maybe you're invited to join this race after you turn 18? But you're out if you appear on The Biggest Loser or Get Lipo? He keeps using that word. I do not think it means what he thinks it means. Instructions unclear, racing babies against each other. Have never been happier. Username. Checks out? This was going to be a throwaway, and then I forgot my password on my original account and accidentally posted some in earnest comments here. At one point, I strongly debated leaning in by posting anti-racist yet sexist comments with it, but now I think my true calling is in racing things. No man, make a fat baby basketball league and you can do all-star games against the crack baby basketball league. This was a more in-depth question than I was ready for, but I have no idea what he was going on about. Was born at 8 pounds, am now queen fatty. Also very confused by this guy's logic. One time I saw a tweet that said even if you're getting healthy, if you try to lose weight from any size you currently are, that makes you fatphobic. I nearly deleted Twitter. I think the only thing that stopped me were the replies tearing her to shreds. I hesitate to say this because it does make some somewhat unkind assumptions, but I wouldn't be surprised if Joan resents her friends for being able to buy clothing wherever, and she's limited to certain brands that carry her size. It can feel unfair when you see a dress on a mannequin and know that A, it likely doesn't come in your size, and B, even if it did, it was designed for a much smaller body and it won't look that great on you anyway. Size inclusivity is a great thing and she can advocate for it all she wants. But she can't expect her friends to limit themselves on what they buy in solidarity. That's simply asking too much. Damn right. She is making her weight issues about you rather than about herself. This is spot on, and sounds like it is par for the course with Joan. If she is arguing with her GP about whether it is safe to take a pill, she is off the deep end. She has convinced herself that being obese is not bad for her health and any information to the contrary is discrimination. Not the butthole. Controversial opinion here, it is perfectly okay if a brand decides to focus on a narrow size range. Plus size market is growing and designers and brands are missing a trick not to market to them, but that is their choice. I agree, and I've been in plus sizes since grade school. I doubt Joan has the same issue with plus size focused brands not offering size 0 options. Yeah, I often find that people like Joan dismiss smaller people's struggles to find clothes, because they can technically fit into oversized clothes or tailor them smaller, not realizing how much of an extra struggle that can be too. I often get people suggesting cheap stores, or fashionable ones, or even cool ones that are eco-friendly, and I have to be the person who nicely says something about how the clothes there are great and I wish I could shop there but they don't come in my size. People never seem to think that the small people can't shop everywhere as well as the bigger people. And it's fine. I found a store that fits me well, has decently priced clothes, and has aged up in style as I have, so I haven't had to find a new store. Amazing. What's the store? I'm in double XS and I'm dying to find something that fits my waist. The worst for this was dresses for school dances. The most affordable stores had nothing anywhere near fitting me. It's still not great with stores targeted at adult women, unless they're pricey. OMFG When I went shopping for prom, went to a store that was more for petite girls and after find not a single dress on the rack in my size, or even in the size up, and when I asked the person flat out told me they don't really buy dresses in my size, 0, but shed look. 2 dresses in the whole store. Both over $200. That was the only store left to try at that mall, unamused face. Or just people with different bodies. I'm not plus sized but I'm decently curvy. And it's like these fashion companies have never heard of tits and ass. Oh, absolutely. I had to buy a very bright colored sneakers from children's section because the adult section did not have my size. Similar struggles for clothes. Thankfully, I am a little bigger now but my shoe size remains the same. 100%, this. I'm a professional and finding suits in my size is nearly impossible. I wear petite in the one expensive store I buy suits from. I want to smack myself every time I hear someone complain about how they don't get why others complain about not being able to find suits that fit them. Yet, do I go on a rampage every time a store doesn't have professional clothes that fit me? No, I'm well aware I'm just abnormally small. Everyone has their own struggles. Sometimes we focus so much on the pebble in our shoe and lack awareness of the boulders other people are climbing. I've seen so many pretty clothes in the plus size and curve range. We have a lot of them in my city, let alone online options, made for a wide range of female figures. The minimum size though is usually a 14, so I don't even go in. Which is fair, big girls get pretty clothes too. I have other places to find clothes, but my friends and I are all the same size. We can all try on the same dress and it will look completely different because we all have curves in different places. Like, can I get a size 10 pair whilst my friend gets a size 10 hourglass and the other size 10 petite? Truth is, not many places do the female range quite right. So you often end up finding a handful of stores or brands that actually work with your shape and style. It's not all inclusive everywhere, no matter your size. Not the butthole. Controversial opinion here. It is perfectly okay if a brand decides to focus on a narrow size range. Plus size market is growing and designers and brands are missing a trick not to market to them. I was going to comment about the profit margins for big clothes is less, more material used at the same price, or that charge more and attract the accusations of fatphobia, but then I remembered that 2/3 RDS of British and American adults are overweight or heavier. The sheer amount of overweight people are enough to easily offset the lower profit margins. The sheer amount of overweight people are enough to easily offset the lower profit margins. Exactly. Yes, there is some complexity around grading plus sizes. Essentially, they should do it from scratch and not try to size up a 16 to a 22. Manufacturers need to band together and do a new measurement study on people. For example, bodice block patterns are sized for a B cup on average when so many women now measure C cup and above that. This should be reviewed. You are assuming that everyone knows that they are overweight and need to wear larger sizes. A lot of people will try to squeeze into non-plus sizes, and if they can button it or zip it, declare that it fits, no matter that the shirt is gaping across the chest or the pants looks like it will split at any moment. These folks are not going into the plus size stores to get the size 22 that would fit much better. I've also run into the every size above a single digit is A plus size crowd, so to them size 10 is A plus size. It's like complaining that Taco Bell sells tacos. Make sure to remind her to boycott children's clothing companies, etc. Not the butthole. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.